What is a Japa workshop? We will tell you. Who wants to know what a Japa workshop is? Okay, so what we're going to do is sometimes I'm going to ask you a question, or I'm going to ask you to fill in a word, and if you all sit there like this, I'm going to ask you again. And if you don't answer enthusiastically, I'm going to ask you again. The workshop could take a long time if I keep having to ask you, okay? So we want you to be enthusiastic. We want you to be what? Enthusiastic. To be what? Enthusiastic. Thank you, yeah. So who wants to know what a Japa workshop is? Okay, yes, okay. So the workshop is not about Japa in general. It is about your Japa and your life in relation to Japa. So often when you learn a topic, you learn about it, right? It's kind of like, I can teach you how to drive a car by using this screen. Would you be ready to go out and drive? No, I can teach you how to drive a bus using this screen, right? You know everything about driving a bus, except you wouldn't know how to drive a bus, right? So oftentimes when we learn Krishna consciousness, we learn everything about it, but we have to relate it to ourselves. So in this workshop, this totally relates to your japa. This workshop is about your japa and how to improve it. It's not theoretical about japa in general. Because you can learn all about japa and not improve, right? Does that make sense? Okay, next we need, oh yeah, next, okay. It is a condensed Japa retreat in which the main principles and practices of the Japa retreat are taught. So the Japa retreat goes anywhere from 5 days up to 9 days, depending on how many 64 round days we have. So I took the main principles and condensed it into 2 days or 3 days because not everyone has the time to do a Japa retreat. And then so it's basically a Japa retreat, but it's condensed. Okay, next. As far as possible, you should be on a Japa retreat for the duration of the entire weekend. Therefore, anything you do here, well, may have bad batteries. Well, this was if you're going to be at home, so you already are in a retreat. So the idea is that everything you do this weekend should be centered around japa. So that means at night, don't stay up late, talking till midnight, and then get up late, and not chant your rounds early in the morning. So everything you do, you want to focus on improving your japa, right? Okay, next. You will have a daily assignment. Well, you're going to only have one assignment. Every morning you are to make the effort to chant the best japa you have ever had. So you're going to do that. We'll give you that assignment tonight. Okay? I wish you would have had the assignment last night, but anyway, we'll do our best. What else do you have? Testimonials. No, we don't need testimonials. I want to go to I'm going to move around fast. I want to go to the goals. Oh, I have a mantra for you. This is a really good mantra. Some of you probably know this mantra. It's about being on time. So the mantra goes like this. If you are on, we're going to break and then we'll need you to come back. Then we're going to break and we'll need you to come back. So here's how the mantra goes. If you are on time, consider yourself, who can tell me? Consider yourself what? If you're on time, consider yourself punctual. Yes, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. Sincere, yes, not the answer. In integrity, yes, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. Dedicated, yes, not the answer I'm looking for. You're all right, but ready to learn, yes, not the answer I'm looking for. Focus, okay. You're never going to guess. Okay. If you're on time, consider yourself late. I know for Indians that's really difficult to figure out. We want to come early, okay? So we're going to meet back at 12:10, and you come at 12:10, you're late. If you come at 12:09, you're on time. Okay? It's important for Indians too, because we want to. The other thing is, a lot of times we do exercises. You'll have partners, and we do reviews. And if you're not on time, then you're waiting for your partner. Your partner's waiting for you. It doesn't work. Okay. Okay, we have some norms. If you go to slide number 11, if you go to slide, if you can count, if you can go to 11, I'll read it. Just a few norms. I'm skipping around because I never finish, so I want to get to the real juice. Turn off all your cell phones, or you call them mobile phones. If it must be on, put it on vibrate. Be present for the entire course, physically and mentally. In other words, don't just come for part of it. That's like coming for the first math class, and then the fourth math class, and the 12th math class. It doesn't work that way. It's systematic. Value all contributions, whether or not you agree with them. Observe confidentiality within and without the classroom. This means someone may express something to you. A lot of the sharing we do is just, we listen. It may be objectionable. If it's not offensive, don't worry about it. And then if anything you hear that's confidential, don't broadcast it. Don't tell anybody. Because if people feel they can't share because you're going to tell somebody else, then they're not going to share. So one of the things we do, which is so nice about having Japa workshops, we talk about our japa with our partners. We talk about how bad it is. So we sometimes reveal the fact that actually I lay in bed and chant japa, or I watch television while I chant japa. Actually, the other day I got plastic japa beads so I could chant in the shower because I was behind. So we reveal these kinds of things. Okay? So we want to keep it confidential because at one point in time there was telegraph. Then there was telefax. That's before there was teletype. That's before most of you, if you're under 50 or 60, you won't know what teletype is. It's the precursor to the fax machine. Then they call the fax machine the telefax. But there's a better way to get information out. Who knows? Tell a devotee. Because once you tell a devotee, what happens? The whole world knows, right? So confidentiality is important. Be open to all the processes and principles, whether or not you can ascertain their immediate benefit. Sometimes we'll do an exercise and you think, why are we doing this? Don't worry about it, just do it, and everything will be fine, okay? And arrive all sessions early. That's, if you're late, then, if you're on time, you're late. Okay, the next one, just a few points on how you can take notes. Divide your notebook into 4 sections. You have notebooks? Yeah. So basically, if you go next, just go next to all the, you will have 1 section for notes, 1 for exercises, 1 for realizations, 1 for evaluations. And I'll tell you when we're doing something what section to put it in. But we're going to do exercises and we're going to ask you to write things down. So you put it in it's just easier for you to find. You may have realizations. Anytime you have realizations, just write them down, because at Japa workshops you get a lot of realization. Like nice realizations that you may never get or rarely get. So it's nice to save them. You can read them later. And you'll read those realizations a year from now, and you won't even believe that was you who wrote them. Did I write that? Did I have such deep realizations? And then we do some evaluations of our own japa. So we're evaluating. So we'll do some sections on evaluation. And last but not least, put your name on your notebook. Sometimes you'll misplace it. Okay, go 2 down to the goals. Okay, this is important. We're going to look at the goals that I've planned out for this Japa workshop. Next one. Goal number, we'll do one at a time. Go back up. Just do one at a time. Okay. This is very important. How important is this? Okay, we have some sleepers here. This is very important. How important is it? Thank you. Okay. One of my jobs is to keep you awake. So I do things like this, okay? So, the first goal, to learn and apply techniques and attitudes in your daily japa that enable you to become more absorbed in your chanting. Who knows what it means to be absorbed in your chanting? Anyone have experience of being absorbed? What does it mean?
Yeah, you don't notice how the time passes.
Oh yeah, very good. You don't notice how the time passes. You have no idea what time it is. What else don't you notice? What else don't you notice?
What's going on around you at all.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on. You don't even know where you are. You forget where you are, you forget the time. That's how you know you're absorbed. How do you know you're not absorbed? Turn it around. What? Yeah, you're very aware of how many rounds you've completed, how many rounds you have left to go, what time it is, what you have to do, where all the aches are in your body, how hungry you are, how sleepy you are. Right? That's a symptom of not being absorbed. So, when I say this is a goal for the workshop, this is a goal for every day. But we're trying to get here in the next 2 days so you can be there every day. So these goals are important to remember for your daily japa. So the key word here is absorbed. If you can't be absorbed in Krishna when you're chanting, how are you going to be absorbed when you're not chanting? Right? So it's a paradox to chant the name and not be absorbed, isn't it? Okay, next goal. To gain a greater taste for chanting so the japa becomes what you want to do rather than what you have to do. To have deeper and more profound experiences with the holy name on a consistent basis. This is very important. How important is it? Why is this important? Because, as this Prabhu said, sometimes japa is boring. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. You know the feeling? All right. So where's the profound experience going on? There's no experience. It's simply boring. That's an experience, the experience of being bored. So, there are many, many things the holy name can give you, and it can give it to you every day. It can give you many deep realizations. The holy name is Chintamani, it's a jewel. You may not realize it, but it is a jewel. And we can have those experiences every day. Imagine if every day, the rest of your life, you had deep experiences with the holy name. Would that be good? Good or great? Yeah, it'd be good. Great. I don't like standing up so high. So these experiences are there every day of your life. They're available, but sometimes we don't get them. And that is one of the biggest losses in our spiritual life. That there's so much value, there's so much power, there's so much potency, so much realization we can get from chanting, and to not get it on a consistent basis is one of the greatest losses. In fact, I'm going to tell you something very heavy. Hold on to the person next to you in case you faint. The Shastra, one of the Goswamis said that if you take up Krishna consciousness and you don't do it properly, you're worse than the people who never took it up. You're worse. Because you have it and you don't do it. They don't know what to do, so they don't do it. So you're worse because you know what to do and you don't do it. So it's a huge loss to nish nish ram nam adi adi, your rounds every day. Isn't it? And just be bored and not get what the holy name gives. Prabhupada said, I was personally present, he said, if you come to Krishna consciousness, you are the most fortunate. The most what? Thank you. And if you leave Krishna consciousness, you are the most unfortunate. So, you have the holy name, Nish Nish Vam Ram Adi Adi. Yes. Is it true? She's laughing because she knows it's true. Right? You know the story, the devotee who was on his deathbed and 3 beings came to him. And their name, one of them was named Nish Nish, one of them was Wam Wam, and the other one was Adi Adi. And he said, who are you? And they said, you've been calling us all your life. We came now that you're dying. Okay, next. Whoa, what happened? Oh, okay. Can you read that? Yes? No? Okay, you can see it. To gain a greater appreciation for the holy name and its central importance in the practice of bhakti. Some of us, the reason we're not chanting well is because we don't understand the central importance of japa. We just think it's something. You wash the pots, cook prasadam, you read the Bhagavatam, go to work, you chant japa. It's all the same. It's not all the same. I have a really nice story I just heard a few weeks ago. Never before told in any Japa workshop. Would you like to hear it? Okay, now, I don't know if you know, but during the time of Srila Prabhupada and his young, one of the regular principles, you could probably guess which one. Sometimes 2. They were hippies, so you could kind of figure out hippie, which regular principles. And so Prabhupada had to deal with leaders falling down. And so after he had been dealing with several of his leaders having difficulty, he was discussing this with his secretary and he said, your only hope is the holy name. Without the holy name, you could not become Krishna conscious. So chanting is that important. Without it, we have nothing, right? Now, for example, just imagine we had the Hare Krishna movement without the Hare Krishna. That was removed. I was actually, I don't know if you were there, Rohini, we had a Thanksgiving party in America. It's a big holiday, Thanksgiving. So the temples have big parties. So the party was noon artik, and then Thanksgiving means a huge feast. And they have traditional foods in America. So I went to the arti at 12 o'clock and there was nobody there. Like 3 Indians in the temple and myself. And then I went to the prasadam room and there were 250 devotees. So I changed the name of the movement to the No Hare Krishna movement. Because nobody was chanting Hare Krishna. Anyway, imagine this was the No Hare Krishna movement. There was no Hare Krishna mantra. Imagine what the movement would look like. What do you think it would look like? Would it be different? no kirtan, no Hare, no japa, no 16 rounds, would your life be different? A lot different? Would you be struggling? Could we take vows to follow principles? It would be dangerous, I think. So Prabhupada is saying, without the Maha Mantra, there's really no hope for Steva Katiranyata. Without the holy name, in this age, we're pretty useless, hopeless. We may be good at doing puja, samskara, being paka brahmana. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We may do all the mantras, tantras perfectly. But purifying the heart is a totally different thing. And so it's the Maha Mantra that's everything. So a lot of us, we don't put enough importance. And if you give sufficient importance to the holy name, that will make a huge difference in your japa. It will make a huge difference in your focus, your concentration, the priority you give. Now let's do a little evaluation. In your evaluation section of your notebook, let's do an evaluation. Turn to your evaluation section. You should have your notebook divided in 4 sections. How many sections? 4. Char. Char sections. So go to your char section, your 4th section. 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Evaluations are 4th. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high priority and 1 being low priority, I want you to grade yourself on the importance you give to your japa. Now, I have to qualify this. It's not just that you chant early in the morning. You say, I chant early, I get up, and the first thing I do is I chant. So that means I'm giving high priority, so I give myself a 10. No, don't give yourself a 10 yet. What do you do while you're chanting? Are you thinking about everything you have to do during the day while you chant? That means you're giving your activities of the day high priority, and you're chanting low priority. Yes or yes? You understand. So you want to look at what priority is japa in my life, in my day, and even when I chant, what priority is it? On a scale of 1 to 10. It's just to grade yourself. It's not, you don't have to tell anybody else. It's just an evaluation. Give yourself a grade, and after you give yourself a grade between 1 and 10, then I would like you to answer the question why it is at that number. If you give yourself a 10, then you have to explain why it's at a 10. I get up at 2 o'clock every day. I'm completely absorbed in my japa. Therefore, I don't do anything else. Therefore, it's a 10. Or I get up late and I do other things and I chant late in the afternoon and I'm spaced out and I'm on my phone when I'm chanting. I watch soap operas while I'm chanting. That's why it's at a 1. So, or you could just say, I'm lazy. Or you could just be honest and say, it's at a 1 because I'm lazy. But you give yourself a reason for your number, okay? Any questions on this? Give yourself a number and a reason why it's at that number, okay? Be 100% honest, and you don't have to read this to anybody. It's just for you, okay? Does anybody not have a notebook? And so in this workshop we do a lot of exercises, and everyone's supposed to do them or we don't give you lunch. We have hidden cameras watching you, and those who aren't doing the exercises, they get no lunch. So do your work now, okay? Because the work is very important. In Mexico, when you procrastinate, they say mañana. Who knows what mañana means? It means tomorrow. So I preach in Mexico, so I joke with them. I say, you have mañana Shakti. Shakti to procrastinate, to put it off. So they have a joke in Mexico, why put off for tomorrow what you could do the day after tomorrow? That's a Manjana Shakti on steroids. Okay. This is just self-evaluation, just to kind of see where you're at right now coming into the workshop. Just for yourself. Okay, let's read the next one. To create an internal resistance to chanting poor japa and thus demand a higher standard of chanting from yourself. Have you ever been chanting poor japa one day and it's really bad and you don't do anything to improve it? Raise your hand if you've done that. Well, we've got 100% here. Okay, we've all done it. Why do we do that? What's wrong with us? We're chanting, it's bad, we're distracted, we're lazy. Isn't that crazy? So, one of the things we want to accomplish, and I believe this is one of the most important things to accomplish if we can do this, and it has been one of the most important things for me, is to create a situation in which you develop kind of an internal alarm system so that when your japa is not good, you shift and you correct it automatically. You don't allow yourself to chant bad japa. Wouldn't that be nice? All of us have this in our life, just like every one of you has a certain standard of cleanliness. And when that standard of cleanliness goes below its threshold, you're in anxiety. And you'll just stop whatever you're doing and you'll clean. There's too many dishes in the sink. There's too many crumbs on the floor. There's too much dust on the window. There's a certain standard. I have too many spots on my clothes. There's a standard, right? Isn't it? You have a standard. You have a standard of education. People have a standard of income, a standard of schools for their children, a standard of where they'll live. We all have standards. And when we go below those standards, what happens? We start to feel uneasy. Something's wrong, and we correct it. True or true? True or true? Are we awake? Yes. Actually, I'm just trying to keep myself awake because I only slept 4 hours last night. So imagine you have that same internal system that when your japa gets bad, it automatically turns on and pushes you back up. Wouldn't that be good? That you could not allow yourself to chant bad japa. You would have a threshold and it just wouldn't go below there. The problem is now we have a threshold. It's just, it may be way down, right? I mean, probably you don't chant in the shower or the bathtub. That was a joke. Although I did it once. Because we went in hot springs in Israel and one of the devotees said, so-and-so Maharaj, he likes to chant his japa in the hot springs. So I did it. And it was really good because it was inside like a cave and it echoed. It was really good japa. But generally, we have a standard, you know. I joke, you're chanting japa watching football games. No, probably you don't, right? Soap operas. Probably you don't go that low. Do you? Does anybody go that low? Okay, close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. If you've gone that low, raise your hand. Okay. Yeah, we've got a few people went that low. So, okay, you can open your eyes. All right. Most of us don't go that low. We have some threshold, isn't it? Okay. In Dallas, Texas, about 5 years ago, devotee raised his hand and said, I don't watch television. I said, I don't chant while I watch football games. I said, I just chant during the commercials. No problem, right? It's true, I believe him. So one of the things we want to accomplish is to raise that threshold so it's very high. And so when you start, your japa gets on the border of not being really good, you kick it back in. Yeah, that is really important. We'll try to get you there. Next one. To experience that there is nothing but the holy name in all the 14 worlds. That's a quote from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What he means is that when you come to gain a taste in chanting, you gain the realization that this is better than anything else that this world has to offer. Because this world doesn't have a whole lot to offer in the way of transcendental bliss, does it? So when you actually get a taste, you realize this is actually better than anything else. How many of you have had that experience chanting japa at some point in your life, that this is like the ultimate? Raise your hand. I was like, doesn't get any better than this. Yeah. Now imagine having that experience every day. Wouldn't that be great? Wow. I mean, you could have that. You can actually do that. But you have to make the effort. One time a devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, what is the greatest obstacle to our advancement? Who knows what Prabhupada said? Anybody? No? Lack of desire? That's an answer. He didn't say that. That's a good answer. You don't fear Maya. That's a problem Prabhupada said we have. That's also true, but there's another answer. Prabhupada, just think about it. What is the greatest obstacle? Who is the biggest problem for our bhakti? Your mother-in-law or you? Yeah, so Prabhupada said you, yourself, you're the greatest obstacle. Right? So, we can have these kinds of experiences on a regular basis, but there has to be effort. Now I want to tell you something amazing. Who wants to hear something amazing? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that if you don't make an effort, you won't get Krishna's mercy. We always think like, well, I'm just going to go to bed tonight, say a few nice prayers, lay down, and hope when I wake up in the morning, the mercy comes showering down. And it'll get me out of bed, and it'll get me into good japa, right? That's like our vision of mercy is kind of like a fairy tale, right? It's just when you get the mercy, everything's good, right? That's true. When you get the mercies, everything is good. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said something very important for us. He said that it is virtually impossible to get Krishna's mercy unless you, I'll tell you next year. You want to hear it? Unless you make the effort, yes. It's virtually impossible to get Krishna's mercy unless you make an effort. That seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? I'm making effort to get mercy. What does it mean? Why doesn't Krishna just choose anybody in Mumbai to give mercy to? Just, somebody on the street. Some man or woman walking down the street. Well, let's choose them. Why doesn't he do that? Because they're not asking for it. And they're not making an effort to get it. So those who are asking, those who are making the effort, Krishna gives it to. So although it seems like a contradiction, because how can there be mercy from effort? That's how it works, because you're showing Krishna. So when you show Krishna you want to chant better, then he gives you mercy to chant better. Yes? And then you get these amazing experiences, like being described here. There's nothing else but the holy name in the 14 worlds. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur continued, and he said, and unless we get the mercy, it's virtually impossible to advance in Krishna consciousness. Because all our advancement comes from mercy. It doesn't come from effort, but mercy comes from effort. Should I say that again? For those who ate too much breakfast, I'll say that again. So, without mercy, we can't advance. Everything in Krishna consciousness depends on mercy. But without effort, we won't get mercy. Therefore, without effort, we won't advance. But we're not advancing by our effort. We're advancing by our mercy. But without effort, you don't get mercy. Without mercy, you don't advance. Without, yeah. You got it? Okay. There's a balance there. It's not just, I'm hoping Krishna is going to give me his mercy. What are you doing to get it? Nothing. Don't you just get it? Doesn't he just, do the lottery each week and, maybe if you throw your number in there? No, it doesn't work that way. Krishna, you show Krishna, right? And then when you get the mercy, then automatically you get so much realization that he can give you in the holy name. Okay. The next one, to organize your life and priorities in a way that supports good japa. This is important because what I've seen is that people come to workshops and they learn what to do, but they go back in their life and their life may not be conducive. So you may know all the tools and the attitudes, but then you get a job and you're working 18 hours a day and you work the night shift. Or you work 18 hours a day, you don't have time to chant your rounds in the morning, you come home late at night, you're tired, you're not chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, you're chanting a mantra, just keeping yourself awake, right? You ever been there? Late night japa, trying to stay awake? It's not as good as japa in the morning, right? So sadhana means to create an environment which is conducive. So even if you have the intention and the techniques and the tools and the attitudes, if you don't have the environment, you're paddling upstream. So this is really important. So we're going to take time later on and look at our lives and see if there's anything in our life that's detrimental to good japa. Because if it is, it's going to be a real handicap for you. And the last one, very important, to create a mindset and thus a habit of constantly improving your japa throughout your life. The reason this one is there is specifically because when you come to a japa workshop, you're with a group of devotees all trying to improve their japa, and it's really sweet, and you really get into it, and you come out enthusiastic, fired up, you've got a renewed taste and a renewed energy. But then there's a little thought that sometimes enters your mind, and that thought is, like how, not even can I sustain it, even a worse thought, I know I won't be able to sustain it. Many, many people think it was a good weekend, but I won't be able to sustain it. Or, like you're saying, kind of a fear, will I be able to sustain it? Some just go out and say, no way. Other people say, I don't know if I can. So here's an important principle that I've realized personally. You never get the opposite of what you meditate on. So if you want good japa and you meditate on the thought, I don't know how I'm going to do it, you don't get it. You have to meditate on the thought of creating good japa. So that's what this is, to create a mindset when you leave the workshop that I'm going to continue this. That's what you leave with. Not leaving with the fear of how am I going to do it. Because if you leave with the fear of how am I going to do it, what do you think is going to happen? 3 guesses. You won't, because you're only going in the direction that you're thinking. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep this up. You are absolutely right. You won't be able to keep it up. Because that's how you think. I'm going to do this. Now, a devotee said, Prabhu, you can't say that. That means you're puffed up. You said you're going to do it. You're puffed up. I don't want to be with you. You smell bad. It's not being puffed up. It's at initiation. What are the 4 principles? I won't eat any meat, fish, or eggs. I won't have any illicit sex. I won't take intoxication. I won't gamble. Ooh, he's puffed up. Did you hear what he said? He said he's going to do this. Who does he think he is? No, it's the same thing, right? It's a vow, isn't it? It's a vow based on Krishna will help me do this, because this is what I'm focusing on, right? So it's very important when you gain tools and attitudes that can really help you in anything in Krishna consciousness, that you don't leave with them thinking, oh, I hope I do it. Hope I don't lose my notebook. Hope I get up early enough tomorrow to chant my rounds. You can't go thinking that way. You're like putting your hands into the modes of nature. Hope the modes of nature don't churn me like I'm in a washing machine. That's basically what you're saying, right? But you have to go intentionally. No, I'm going to put this into practice. This is what I want to do. So that's very, very important, right? So just meditate on that during this workshop, how you can build your determination and your intention to improve your japa, because that's why you're going to improve. Now I'll tell you something funny. Who would like to hear something funny? Okay. I was living in Alachua, and then they flew me to California, which is almost 3,000 miles, to do a little Japa workshop. It was like $400. $400 means like 20,000 rupees, right? 22,362 rupees, something like that. So I fly in there. I said, okay, what I want you to do is write down 3 things that come to mind you can do to improve your japa. I said, don't think, just write it down. So everybody had a few things. You know, stop chanting in the bathtub. Okay, stop chanting watching soap operas, Get up before 9 a.m. Something like that. Everyone writes the obvious, right? And I said, if I gave you a half hour, could you write down 7 to 12 more things you could do? Everybody thought about it and said, yeah, probably I could. I said, so why did you fly me out here? You already know what to do. Well, you don't need me. Yes? So, how important is intention to improve? So then, I did this exercise in Vrindavan many years ago. Then I asked an important question. I said, if you realize what you can do to improve your japa, and you're not doing it, then the big question is why? Someone raised her hand, the only honest person in the audience, and said, Prabhuji, because I'm lazy. I said, yes, that's the reason. You have a better reason than that? I'm just lazy. I could do it, right? So, your intention to improve your japa, what's more important than that? Now, here's a really interesting thing. I find this just fascinating. I did a Japa workshop, 5 years ago in Calcutta, or 4 years ago. So there was one devotee with me, and we went together to Mayapur. And on the train in Mayapur, we're reading a book called, I believe it's called Japa Journal. And Japa Journal is a book of compilations of interviews with devotees about their japa. So I said, let's read the book. So we start reading the book. We're going through the book. I said, this book is very interesting, isn't it? Everything that I taught in my workshop is in this book. He said, yeah. He said, it looks like you copied it from this book. I said, I never read it. He said, isn't that interesting? The realizations these people are sharing are the exact teachings that Krishna revealed to me to teach this workshop, and I never read them, and we're saying exactly the same thing. Because when the intention is to improve, what happens? Krishna gives intelligence. Yes? And we get that, and therefore, you really don't need me. So I think we should just end the workshop. All you need is determination and intention to improve. Okay. Okay, it's over. It's nice knowing you. Yeah, right. Anyway, but that's fundamental. Fundamental. Okay. All right. So, okay. Any questions on these goals? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do another evaluation. And I'm going to give you I have to give you a little idea how to do this evaluation. You're going to evaluate your japa. Let's say the last year. You can take the last 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years. Take a time period of at least 6 months. And you're going to do an evaluation on a scale of 1 to 10. And 10 means excellent, and 1 means poor. And 5 means it's not good, it's not bad. So, we had some examples here. One Prabhu said, chanting japa, you don't even know what time it is. You don't even know where you are. That's good. That's like 7 or 8 or 9. The other Prabhu said, sometimes it gets boring. That's like down 3, 2, 1, depending how boring it is. Right? 5 is like, well, if I chant this way the rest of my life, I won't go up or I won't go down. I'll just kind of remain where I am. It's average. There is a kind of japa that doesn't take you up or down. It just maintains you. And if it's above 5, then that means you would figure, if I chant japa this way the rest of my life, I'll be better off. If it's below 5, if I chant japa the rest of my life, I'll probably be a little worse off than I am today, because it's less than average. So this is just an honest evaluation for yourself. So we could know where we're at right now coming in today. And what do you take in consideration? The main thing to take in consideration is the quality based on these goals. Your absorption, your giving priority to chanting, your taste, these things. So give yourself a score. If there's an effort but not much absorption, so you're looking at 2 things. One, you're looking at effort, and one, you're looking at results. So maybe your effort's an 8, but your results are a 3. So then give yourself a 5.5. You can just add it up. You don't always get results from effort. That will depend on Krishna's mercy. Or you may need greater effort. So you look at it in terms of effort, you look at it in terms of experience, taste. What are you thinking about when you chant? Are you thinking about when you're going to finish? When's it going to be over? Are you relishing it? But basically what I would like you to say is to look at this and say, if I chant this way the rest of my life, am I going up or am I going down, or am I staying in the middle? It's like we do a workshop on marriage, and I ask the same question. If you don't do anything to improve your marriage, 5 years, what's it going to look like? If you have a good marriage, it'll probably look good. If it's not so good, it's going to be worse. Okay, now, let's do the same exercise we did in Laguna Beach. Write down 3 things that come to mind you could immediately do to improve your japa. Don't think too much. Just 3 things you could do. 3 things you could do immediately to improve your japa. Just what comes to mind. Before you're chanting, in your life, and while you're chanting. Look at that number. And let's say, hypothetically, for the rest of your life, your japa couldn't get any higher than that number. It was like Lord Chaitanya said, today, October 1st, wherever your japa has been for the last year, on an average, that's as good as it will get for the rest of your life. So whatever your number is, let's say your number is 5, that's it. Hypothetically speaking, it couldn't get any better than that. That's it. No, I'm asking you. Oh, wait. Just say hypothetically. Hypothetically. Today, whatever your number is, that's it. That's as good as it's going to get in this lifetime. Raise your hand if that would be a problem for you. Whoa. Nimai Leela had his hand really high. Said, yes, that's a problem. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Because really, shouldn't we be chanting japa on a daily basis that we can say at the end of every 16 rounds or 25 or how many we chant? That was good. And if I continue like this, I'll become Krishna conscious. Shouldn't? Yes? Yes or yes? Yeah. So that's important. So if we have a problem where if we don't feel that way, that's a huge problem. Isn't it? So that means we're not giving enough importance, enough stress to the holy name. So one of the objectives is to help you give more importance. Because as I said, if you give more importance, then you'll do better. Okay? So, did anybody come up with anything like really good they could do to improve their japa they want to share? Yes. Posture, better. Not slumping. Oh, chanting all your rounds at one time. Posture, meaning like what? Like this? Hare Krishna Hare. There's a verse in one shastra that says if you have crooked posture, it makes a crooked mind. Yes. What else did we get? Anyone get some good ideas? Yes, in the back. We have another microphone? Anyway, you can just speak loudly, I can repeat.
As you said, sit at one place while chanting in a good posture. That is the first thing I think while improving japa. And second is try to hear the words. And third is I think that while chanting, if I try to pray, if I chant in the mood of praying, and that
praying.
really helps.
Praying, trying to chant in one place and all your rounds at one time. Very good. What else did we get? Well, yeah, plan ahead. Saying plan ahead the best time to chant based on what's going on in your day. That's a very good point. A lot of times, circumstantially, we're in situations in which if we don't chant early in the morning, then the places we're going to be chanting are not really conducive, such as on a bus, train, plane, car, like that. So that's really important. I joke with devotees. So many devotees will chant while they're driving. You go around Mayapur, everyone's riding their bike chanting. I say, well, you know, Prabhupada said that when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna's there, right? So if you're late, why don't you just bring your deities and... What's that Velcro tape? What's it called? Oh, is it Velcro? Yeah. Why don't you Velcro your deities on the dashboard, and while you're driving to work, you can just... Anybody do that? I mean, I don't have time, so I do it. I mean, if you're going to chant japa while you drive, might as well do your puja while you drive. What's the difference? I said, no, Prabhu, I couldn't do that. It would be dangerous. I couldn't concentrate. Well, if you can't concentrate, why are you chanting? So you know it's not good to chant while you drive, or you know you can't concentrate on the train, so like you're saying, yeah, you make time. You figure it out in advance. You plan it out and say, I really want to chant good rounds. In this situation, it's going to be very difficult. So, I'm not going to do it. Yes, what else?
Yeah, I have a point. Sorry, I got the microphone. I've seen there's a lot of impact on chanting when you do it in association of devotees, especially in the temple. The environment is there like that.
Yes.
The vibes. You get to... I've seen people who come for the first time or just are chanting, say, 2 rounds, and you sometimes call them in the japa session in the temple, and they say it was so easy to do double. I'm presently doing 2, now I did today 6, and I didn't just come to know about it.
Yes.
So I think that can help. Maybe.
It's called pratibimba. A reflection of one devotee's bhakti is absorbed by another devotee. Not possible all the time. Therefore, we have to make greater endeavor when we're alone. Okay, anyone else have a good idea? Yeah, she falls asleep when she sits, so she needs to walk. Yeah, whatever works for you. Okay, yes?
Prabhuji, this is a challenge for me as well. So the thing, what I would really like to know is how to chant on the breath, the rhythm of the breath, so that I would be more relaxed state rather than an active state, or the mind becoming more active because the breath is not in tune with the mantra.
Let's get into that later. But we're going to do some other things that might circumvent the need for that. So let's see. Then ask me the question tomorrow if it's not satisfied yet. Okay. So, Krishna. Okay. You want to do a fun exercise? Okay, so everyone get a partner and I'll tell you what to do. Everyone needs to have a partner. Suraj is going to be, or he can't be, because he's in the back. Prabhu, there's one devotee in the back, he needs a partner. Oh, here's your partner, okay. Okay, so one of you is going to be partner A and one will be partner B. And partner A is going to start first. So you decide who's going to be partner A, and then we'll tell you what to do. Okay, so you need to face one another a little bit. Okay, partner A, give your notebook to partner B. Give your notebook to partner B. And this, turn to the exercise page. So who's ever partner A, now partner B has your notebook, and they're going to take notes, and you're going to talk to them. Okay? Partner B, all you're doing is listening and taking notes. What partner A is telling you. And when partner A finishes, then you'll switch. Then you'll give your notebook. So, partner A, you're going to play Krishna. Is that okay? Partner A is Krishna. Anyone confused? You're not yourself anymore, you're Krishna. Is that okay? No, Prabhu, we could never be Krishna. This isn't. One Indian man came up to me after the exercise. It is not possible. He was like old man. Prabhuji, it is not possible to be Krishna. He was not understanding too well. So, partner A is Krishna. Partner B now becomes yourself. So, what's your name? Rasi Gaura Haridas is now Nimai Leela, and Nimai Leela is now Krishna. So Krishna is speaking to Nimai Leela. So partner A, you're actually speaking to yourself. So you're Krishna, and so this is Sudevi Saki, but now she's Krishna, and now this is Sudevi Saki. Who's confused? Raise your hand if you're confused. Okay. You two come, can you two come to the front? We'll demonstrate. Partner A is Krishna. Anybody confused? Okay, partner A is Krishna. Here's partner A. He's no longer Nimai Lila. He is now Krishna. This is partner B. He's no longer Rasik Gauda Hari Das. He's now Nimai Lila. Krishna, I want you to speak to Nimai Lila and tell him all the things you do well with your japa and all the things you don't do well. And he, while he's speaking, he's going to write it down. And there are questions up here on the board, so let's move back. These are questions you can look at. What would Krishna tell you you're doing well? What would he tell you to do to take advantage of what you're already doing well? Like you could do it better? What would he say are actions or practices you do or attitudes you have that are detrimental? Among these detrimental practices and attitudes, which ones would Krishna say are most detrimental? What would Krishna explain is the reason you're not doing more to overcome these detrimental practices? What attitude or consciousness would Krishna tell you to adopt as the basis for overcoming your detrimental practices? What practices would Krishna tell you to adopt to overcome your obstacles and chant good japa? Which of these practices will make the most difference? What possible obstacles do you foresee in adopting these most important practices? How will you deal with these obstacles? And finally, what realizations did you get by doing this exercise? So after A and B both finish, then you have your notebook and you can write your realization from the exercise. Who's still confused? Raise your hand. Yeah, so you're partner A. So you're speaking to yourself as Krishna. And this is a guideline. It doesn't have to be exactly, but because Krishna sees you chanting japa every day, so he can tell you what you're doing well. He can tell you what you're not doing well. He can tell you where you need to improve. Right? Because Krishna hears, he knows. So you're taking the role of Krishna, speaking to yourself as a super soul. And your partner is writing everything down you say. Are we ready? Okay, so when you finish, then switch over, and then partner B's turn. And then when you're both finished, just write down any realizations. Like from that whole list, you're going to see a couple things that are just going to stand out. That if I do these things, it's probably going to solve the other problems. Like what's the most important. Okay?